The second season begins tonight as 6 Pinellas County schools start their run at a state title. We focus on 2 of them, St. Pete and Pinellas Park. The Green Devils have been close to the postseason in recent years and finally kicked the door down this season using a ferocious defense and a dominating ground attack. They visit Pinellas Park, who completed a 4-year turnaround under James Adams, going from a winless season in '94 to a district title in '97. It's the 8-2 Green Devils versus the 7-3 Patriots in round 1 of the high school football playoffs on Time Warner's Game of the Week. Next.
Park High School, Time Warner Communications High School Football Game of the Week features the opening round of the Class 5A State High School Football Playoffs as the Green Devils of St. Pete take on the Patriots of Pinellas Park. Hello again, everyone. Brian Ungst here along with Rich Hollenberg, welcoming you to Pinellas Park High School. Rich, this is a rematch of a game that took place earlier this year on this field. St. Pete won that one handily.
Yeah, they did. They've been road warriors all year long, Brian, but this is going to be a much different game. Pinellas Park was a little dinged up going into that game about 5 weeks ago. A lot of players had the flu. St. Pete came in here and ran all over them. I expect a much closer game tonight.
Dusty Boylston brings St. Pete in with an 8-2 record. They were their district's runner-up. They come in, though, riding a 7-game winning streak.
Yeah, they're the hottest team in the county, and the important thing about this team coming into tonight, Brian, they are playing with a ton of confidence. They've gone in, and really one of those 2 losses was an 11-7 loss against Northeast, which really could have changed the whole face of this playoffs right now. They are playing with the most confidence of any team in the county.
They're a big, physical football team. They love to run the football, and they've got a big physical senior back by the name of Dontrell Watson that's their leading rusher.
And Dontrell is the one that really ran roughshod over this Patriots defense about 5 weeks ago. He is a load. Make no mistake about it. He can run over you, but he's also got some speed, deceptive speed, if he does turn the corner. Their theory is run up the middle, bang the defense, tire him down, and then in the end of the game, use your speed backs to beat him outside.
When you talk about St. Petersburg, though, you talk about the rock-solid defense. Senior linebacker Jamonte Robinson, their leading tackler.
Well, he's a guy we featured when we had St. Pete in our Game of the Week earlier this season. He is all over the field, the leading tackler for this team. You will hear his name called early and often tonight. You'll remember number 55.
James Adams has done a great job of turning this Pinellas Park program around. They come in with a 7-3 record, but they come off a very disappointing loss against Northeast last week.
But that doesn't mean that much. Going into that game, he figured, and I love this idea by him, James Adams wanted to get his team ready for a run at a state title, not just this first round of the playoffs. They tried a lot of new offensive sets, including the shotgun. You won't see that tonight. They'll stick with their running game, some short passing game, but that's one of the main reasons that the score was so lopsided against Northeast.
Senior leadership's been very important to turning this program around. Senior quarterback Joe Vaughn has been outstanding this year.
And what a culmination to a great career for Joe Vaughn. He really grew up in this program with James Adams. A 4-year starter, played since his freshman year. Now it's his senior year, and he's trying to make it a memorable one, leading his team to the playoffs, the 3rd best passer in the county.
Pinellas Park, known for very athletic defensive players. Senior linebacker Eric Davis has 159 total tackles coming in.
Well, if Jamonte Robinson has a nose for the football on St. Pete's side, this is the counterpart. Eric Davis, probably pound for pound, one of the top 5 players all around in Pinellas County, and he too will have his night tonight.
Pinellas Park and St. Petersburg getting set to tee it up. 5A state tournament matchup coming your way next, right here on Channel 7. Brian Ungst, Rich Hollenberg back with you at Pinellas Park High School, getting set for the opening round of the 5A state football playoffs. Let's go down to referee Tom Powers for the opening coin toss.
Captains Vaughn, Kopke, Sherman, and Beauchamp. Shake hands, guys.
Have a good game. Have a good game. Have a good game.
All right, that's Mr. Phelps over there. He's going to be the umpire. On the left-hand side over here, you got Mr. Galvin, going to be the back judge. On the right-hand side, Mr. Alosio. line judge, linesman over here, Mr. White. You're the visitor, right? What does that look like? That's the tails. All right. Here we go. He says that's heads. And that's tails, okay? You're going to call it in the air. You're going to tell me what he said, right? Heads, heads he says. What is it? Who won? All right, you won. You want the ball, okay? He wants to receive. You can tell me which way you want to kick it or which goal you want to defend. Either way you want to. You want to defend that goal and kick back this way. Spin around that way. Come on around here, guys.
Let's take a look at the officiating crew. Tom Powers doing his stand-up routine there during the opening coin toss. He is the referee. Ron Phelps is the umpire. Head linesman is Taylor White. The line judge is John Alausio. The back judge, Larry Galvin. The electric clock operator up here in the booth next to us is Joe Undrilla. Well, Rich, these teams aren't strangers. We'll take a look at the statistical matchup, and on paper they match up fairly evenly.
Well, it's two teams that have real great years, and both teams making their first trip to the playoffs in a long time. Scoring-wise, they're about the same. Opponent scoring, they're about the same, too. These are two of the better defenses. Last time they met, Pinellas Park led up about 27 points. I don't expect St. Pete to score that many points this game.
Dusty Boylston in his 9th season as the head coach at St. Pete High. They're 8-2 this year. Overall record is 35-56. He's assisted by Larry Rayford and Victor Overstreet. Done a great job this year of finishing second in 5A10. On this side, James Adams, and talk about turning a program around in his 4th year. 17-24 overall, 7-3 this year. They were 8-2 last year. He's assisted by Bob Stevens, Luke Kadenmoff, Gary Pate, and Stacy Simmons, the former Dunedin and University of Florida star, Stacy Simmons. And we're about set to kick off the opening round of the State 5A football playoffs. Ground ball is kicked by 81, Adam Bradley. Picked up and run up the middle. 89 has the football, Nick Pruitt, and Nick Pruitt gets right to the midfield stripe. So they try to squib it, Rich, and it kind of backfired on him.
Yeah, Nick Pruitt, one of those hands guys that they have on kickoff teams. He took the early ball. He's a tight end for this team, one of the better tight ends in Pinellas County, and had a fairly nice return for someone who doesn't really do that much kick returning in the first place out to midfield.
St. Pete has it right at the midfield stripe. Charlie Ballou, the quarterback, they will run the wishbone formation. Give the ball to second man through Dontrell Watson. Watson, powerful running, picks up 9 yards. There's a flag back in the backfield, and it might be an illegal procedure. There was early movement in the offensive backfield. Illegal shift is the call by Tom Powers. The offensive unit for the St. Pete Green Devils, the quarterback Charlie Ballou, DJ Jones, Dontrell Watson, Rodney Myrick, the 3 running backs starting in the wishbone, Ronald Hemingway, Nick Pruitt, the receivers, Mike Schmidt, Casey Lausch, Chris Littlefield, Juan Murillo, and Mario Moody, their big and powerful offensive front.
And that's how St. Petersburg has won 8 games this year. They've won it with their size on both sides of the line.
1st and 15, first man through the fullback, and he will get nowhere. He's stuffed right at the line of scrimmage. Rodney Myrick on the carry, and the defensive unit they are facing.
Let's take a look at the defense that ranks 3rd in Pinellas County. David DeCore, Moses Williams, Joe Robinson, and Andrew Basanta. Great defensive line. The linebackers, Mangual Davis, McGee, and Ziante Sherman. And in the secondary, Dave Green, Gary Ponder, and Mark Kopke. A hard-hitting, nose-for-the-football type of a defense that likes to cause the turnover.
2nd and 15. Ballou back to pass, looking on the throwback deep, and it's going to be a jump ball, and it'll fall incomplete, trying to get it out there to Ronald Hemingway. Good coverage in the secondary by Jeremiah Chambliss, number 14 from the Patriots.
Jeremiah Chambliss, not a starter on this defense, but someone that we will hear a lot from on both sides of the football. Charlie Ballou, not an exceptional drop-back passer. Although Dusty Boylston told us earlier in the week if they had a drop-back type of an offense, he would be able to throw the ball. He just doesn't get that many reps.
He got popped by Mike McGee, number 48, when he released the ball. 3rd and 15, McGee coming again from the blind side, throws the ball deep, and it is almost caught, but it'll fall incomplete. trying to get it out to Dontrell Butler. And he had it off the hands, but he could not hold on to it.
Well, the last two plays, Brian, we saw someone and talked about someone that we didn't see and St. Pete didn't see the last time these two teams played. It's Mike McGee, and he was out for a good part of this season, suffered from mono and a couple of other injuries. He is back, and he is a key for this Pinellas Park defense in the middle.
Juan Murillo, the big guy, will punt. It's high and wobbly. Hits to 30, takes a St. Pete bounce. Rolls inside the 20. And that's where it'll be downed at about the 17-yard line. So St. Pete with a pretty good punt, and the Patriots will be pinned deep for their first possession here of the first half.
Never amazes me when I see a kid like Juan Murillo punting the ball. What an athlete. Looks like a lineman, plays like a lineman, but he's a good enough athlete that he's the team's punter as well, and he also is the starting goalkeeper on the soccer team.
6'2", 265. See the offensive unit: Joe Vaughn, Eddie Henderson, Andrew Bassant are the running backs and quarterback. Justin Luke, Gary Ponder, and Eric Davis, the receivers. Van Sickle, Nix, DeCore, Coleman, and Weaver, your offensive front. This is Eddie Henderson, and Henderson. And they actually spotted the ball, Rich. They said it went out of bounds. I guess it's a 27, or where it was. It might have been touched. So he picks up 3 or 4 yards on the play. The defensive unit for St. Pete.
Let's take a look at the defense that was ranked 6th in the county, 5th in scoring this year. Yamano Dunbar, Casey Loesch, Juan Murillo, Rodney Myrick, a big D-line. The linebackers, DJ Jones, Amos Phillips, Jamonte Robinson, who we featured in our pregame, and Dontrell Watson. And the secondary, very athletic secondary, Daniil Brown, Dontrell Butler, and Ron Hemingway.
Kopke now in at the tailback position. Andrew Bassant in at the fullback position behind Joe Vaughn. This is Kopke off the left side. Kopke spinning forward. Good leg drive by the junior running back. He's one of our leading rushers. Comes in with 662 yards, averages 7 yards a carry, and he scored 4 touchdowns.
Real tough-nosed kid is Mark Kopke. He can run it inside and outside. That's what James Adams likes about him. This time he tried to bust it outside. Good job wrapping up by the St. Pete defense, but not before Kopke gained a few.
3rd and 2, Rich, although he's not the starter, he's actually their leading rusher, but he's so valuable defensively that they can give him the rest offensively. He stays in at the tailback position behind Bassant. 3rd and 2. They'll send a man in motion. Toss the ball. Kopke right side. Moving the pile. It will be close. It's going to depend on the mark. They may have to measure. Didn't look like he had it initially, Rich, but they say he does have it according to Tom Powers. They kept moving that pile forward and credit the offensive front.
Absolutely. And that's something that the offensive front did not get a chance to do the last time these two teams met. It was all St. Pete. Most of the game, it was close in the first quarter, then blown open by the Green Devils. I mentioned earlier, though, Brian, a very ill Pinellas Park team on both sides of the ball. They were not feeling well coming into that game, and Dontrell Watson was the key to that game, running for over 100 yards.
This is Eddie Henderson back in the tailback. He spins forward for a gain of maybe 2. Tough running against the interior of that St. Pete defense with Jamonte Robinson and company in there.
Well, Joe Vaughn likes to throw the ball, and James Adams has confidence in the passing game, but he said earlier this week that he will definitely try to establish the run. They've got a stable of good runners here. We talked about Kopke, Henderson. Eric Davis sometimes carries the ball. Andrew Bassant is as good a fullback as you'll find in Pinellas County. So they have 4 able running backs, and sometimes you might even see a reverse to wide receiver David Green.
Toss the ball to Henderson. He'll try to turn it outside, and he'll get maybe a couple of yards. Might have had a little bit more of a hole if he cut it up, but he tried to race it to the corner. Really never got that corner turned, and it will bring up 3rd down at about 6.
Trying to stretch the defense a little. As we mentioned, St. Pete's got size. They don't have necessarily the speed that other South County schools have, but a good job by Daniil Brown chasing Eddie Robinson out of bounds.
Eddie Henderson, 527 yards, averages 5.5 yards every time he touches the ball, has scored 6 touchdowns. 3rd, we'll call it a long 5. Kopke back in. Slot to the short side, dead ball infraction. Here had some movement on the offensive front, or the defensive line lined up in the neutral zone. false start against the Patriots, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 10 now. Not the kind of mistakes that James Adams certainly wants to see his team making in crucial situations. Richie mentioned the previous game they played in that game, Pinellas Park led it 7-0, and as you talked about after that, it was all St. Petersburg.
Nothing new for the Green Devils. They were 4-1 this year on the road, including that win. The only loss on the road was that 11-7 loss at Northeast.
Slot to the short side, play action, Vaughn with a little bit of time. Lots of time, throwing wide open receiver, has him, Gary Ponder. Gary Ponder slipping out there and has it across midfield, and he's down to the St. Pete 44.
Nothing too intricate about this pass play. They like to roll Vaughn out. He's one of the most athletic quarterbacks they have in the county. And Ponder just did a little cross pattern from the left side, came over on the drag, made a nice catch and a good job holding on to the ball on what was a good tackle by number 8, Ron Hemingway.
Hemingway got there, but a little bit late, and a lot of time again for Vaughn. The offensive line so far doing a pretty good job for the Patriots. 1st and 10, they'll spot it at the St. Pete 45. Ponder in motion, straight back Vaughn. Looking for the fade pattern to Ponder, and broken up. Beautiful defensive play by Daniil Brown. As Ponder was about ready to run underneath that one, Rich, and possibly take it the distance.
Well, we saw one great catch on one play, and this play, what a tremendous catch it was, or defensive play by Daniil Brown. Caught backtracking, which was dangerous. If Joe Vaughn put a little more mustard on that ball, we might see 6 points for Pinellas Park.
I thought possibly the Vaughn threw it a little too soon, but Ponder almost outran the football and apparently was there to catch it, but Brown was there to break it up. 2nd down and 10. Backs in the I formation. Kopke is the tailback behind Basant. Give the ball to Kopke straight up the middle with running room. Kopke has a 1st down inside the 25-yard line of St. Pete, and the Patriots are on the move.
Well, that's the sign of a veteran, Mark Kopke, after the strong run taken down and signaling that he wants to come off a great block there. And Jamonte Robinson was left turning his head. You don't see that happen to Jamonte Robinson too often, but Mark Kopke was able to scoot right by and pick up the big gain.
Good lead block by the fullback, the junior, Andrew Basant, that goes in at 200 pounds. This is Henderson now in the sophomore, trying to bounce off the stack, but will not get there. Good gang tackling by St. Pete kept him from bouncing it to the outside. They give him a grudging yard on that one, Rich.
Really no secrets so far, no tricks shown by either team offensively or defensively. This is the kind of game it's going to be for most of the evening.
Slot to the short side for the Patriots. They have David Green, their leading receiver, and Justin Loop in the slot. Henderson, the tailback, takes the toss. Will try once again to get outside, cuts it up inside the block instead. Good decision that time by Henderson. He used his fullback's block, picked up about 5 or 6 yards.
The thing I like from Pinellas Park on their offense so far is you don't necessarily have to look at the runner to see if the play is effective. Eddie Henderson gained a few tough yards on that play, Brian, but you look when Eddie Henderson comes up from being tackled, and he's joined there by almost his entire offensive line, and even Joe Vaughn, the quarterback, everybody pursuing, finishing their blocks, traveling with the runner to try and get as much yardage as they can.
He picked up 6. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Kopke back in at tailback. Loop goes in motion. Toss the ball to Kopke. Kopke right side, moving the pile, has a 1st down and some. Inside the 15, they'll spot it at about the 13. Give credit to that offensive line. Robert Van Sickle, Marcus Nix, David Decor, Jay Coleman, and Billy Weaver doing a great job.
And Joe Vaughn in there with another block from the quarterback position. That's something you'll see from a handful of Pinellas County quarterbacks. And as we mentioned, Vaughn is an excellent athlete. He can get in there and mix it up with the best of them. Kopke, great job of just keeping his legs churning in the pile.
Tough kid. They're about 170 pounds. Eric Davis, the tight end, also blocking along with the fullback. Basant, he checks out now, and Danny Mangold now in at the fullback position. Kopke again, up the middle. Not as much there this time. Gets inside the 10. They'll spot it at the 9.
Well, if I'm Dusty Boylston, I have to be concerned right now as far as what the defense is giving up. He relies on this defensive line to not get pushed around, and right now they are getting dominated in the trenches. Consistently, the Pinellas Park offensive line is pushing the St. Pete D-line back a yard or two.
And Dusty's team known for that rock-solid defense. It's tough to move them. They spotted him at about the 8. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Officials timeout on the field. Having an equipment adjustment in one of the St. Pete defenders. They were helping Jamonte Robinson adjust his helmet. Now we're ready to go. 2nd and 6 from the 8. Backs in the I formation. Henderson in a tailback. They toss the ball to him. Henderson cannot get that corner turn. That's a great job, Rich, by 81 Amos Phillips. He kept him from turning the corner until he got help from his teammates.
Good pursuit by the St. Pete D. This is where St. Pete has to be worried, though. A 3rd and 7 from short inside the red zone. And you see Amos Phillips with the nice pursuit there before some help came along and took Eddie Henderson down. Joe Vaughn's the type of quarterback right now. You can't be sure that Pinellas Park is going to run the ball right now. He could easily pass.
3rd and 8 from the 10. Bassant now in at the tailback position. 15th play of the drive. They give the ball to Bassant. Running from tailback, he gets inside the 10. Spotted at the 6. It's going to be 4th and about 4. Decision time coming up. And it looks like they're going to kick it. James Adams sends in his kicker, Adam Bradley. And the holder, Zianti Sherman.
Interesting play call on 3rd and 7 to run it up the middle. With an athlete like Joe Vaughn under center, I'm surprised they didn't try to utilize him a little more.
Actually, Justin Loop is the holder. Sherman is the wingback to block. They tried to cross him up, Rich, but St. Pete was not fooled. Bradley, the senior kicker. Kick is up, and it is right down the middle. That's a 27-yard field goal for Adam Bradley. Pinellas Park leads it 3-0. 2:35 left first quarter. We'll take a break. You're watching the 5A State Football Playoffs on Time Warner, Channel 7. Pinellas Park strikes first, the 2:35 mark, a 27-yard field goal by senior Adam Bradley. A tough right-to-left angle. Got it right down the middle on 4th down at about 4. They decided to kick it instead of gamble and go for it. And the Patriots lead it 3-0. Back deep, one of the deep men. Number 43, who we don't have on our roster. Actually, that's Roosevelt Stevens. He's listed at 25. Picked up by number 8, Ronald Hemingway, and he's gang tackled as he tried to cut it across the field at the 10. Good special teams coverage by the Patriots.
And that's something Pinellas Park was keying on in practice this week. They wanted to make sure they shut down the St. Pete special teams effort, and so far so good. A good downfield tackle by Pinellas Park special teams D to shut down Ron Hemingway. Hemingway and Stevens are one of the most dangerous combinations of kick returners in Pinellas County.
James Adams has to like the way his team's playing so far in this first quarter. Dusty Boylston, Rich, I'm sure he's going to try to grind out some first downs here.
What a turnaround for James Adams. It's been resurrecting this Pinellas Park program. They haven't been in the playoffs in some 15 years or so. Started his career 4 years ago here, 0-10, and look at them now, district champs.
Toby Jackson on the carry. Toby Jackson, the junior running back out of the wishbone formation, gets out across the 10 to about the 12.
I mentioned that Pinellas Park has a stable of running backs. St. Pete has just as many, if not more. Toby Jackson, just one of the interchangeable parts. He's more of a scat type back than, say, a Dontrell Watson is, but a great job by Kopke coming in there. They play a 4-4 base, but Kopke comes up and helps the run so much. Most of the time, they're stacking 9 in the box.
That's only a 2-yard gain. Watson takes it out near the 15. He's dragged down by Eric Davis, the leading tackler. That'll bring up 3rd down at about 5. Watson, a big guy. Rich goes in there at 230. Tough to bring him down one-on-one. St. Pete's leading rusher comes in averaging almost 9 yards a carry. He'll go off, as you see right there, and be replaced on 3rd and 5. Checking in was DJ Jones. He'll join Toby Jackson behind Myrick, the fullback. Blue gives it to Jackson. Jackson will not get there. He's going to be a yard or so shy of the first down marker. 4th and 1 from their own 19. And Dusty Boylston will not gamble here. He's apparently going to punt it out of there.
And talk about bad timing for Dusty Boylston. He is sick as a dog. I talked to him right before the game. He said, "You don't want to get too close to me. I might give you what I have right now." So he is not feeling too good on the sidelines. Something that James Adams knows all about. His whole team, including himself, suffered from a bad bout of the flu earlier in the season. And with the weather tonight, it probably exacerbates the situation. It feels like it's more summertime than it does the fall.
Great punt by big Juan Murillo. This is David Green. He's dangerous in the open field. Gets back across midfield, and he is gang tackled at about the 48. Murillo with a nice line drive punt. You talked about it earlier, Rich. He's an offensive and defensive lineman at 265 pounds. And he's got a nice limber leg to boom one out of there like that.
And it's good to see David Green in there and being somewhat effective. He's got a banged-up shoulder. Pinellas Park isn't as healthy as they'd like to be. James Adams was telling me before the game that they're a little bit dinged up. Some of those shoulder bruises that you get earlier in the season, they just don't go away, and that's one of the situations with David Green, who's one of the top receivers in the county and Joe Vaughn's favorite target.
Henderson takes it from his 48, maybe a yard, that's it. So far, Pinellas Park winning the battle of field position after getting their first possession at their own 27. They moved down for a field goal, and they have controlled the ball. That will be the final play of this first quarter of action. With the score, Pinellas Park 3, St. Petersburg nothing. We'll take a timeout and be back with second quarter action. You're watching the 5A State Football Opening Round Playoffs right here on Time Warner's Channel 7. Brian Onks, Rich Hollingberg back with you here at Pinellas Park High School. Second quarter action getting set to get underway. Pinellas Park with a 2nd and 8. Vaughn with play action. Fires it out here to Besant, the fullback. Slips a tackle inside the 40. Knocked out of bounds at about the 37. That's enough to move the chains. 1st and 10 for the Patriots.
That's a nice little change-up from James Adams to start the second quarter. You don't normally see Besant coming out of the backfield. They've got a good host of wide receivers with good hands. Besant, known more as a fullback, he'll get a handoff or two and lead block most of the time, but Joe Vaughn finding as many targets as he can, trying to spread the ball around and spread this St. Pete defense thin.
Besant, the 5'11", 200-pound junior fullback. You see Vaughn's numbers on the year. 8 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. Timeout called by Pinellas Park. A little bit of confusion there. Just into this second quarter of action. The pride of the park, the Palms Pinellas All-Star Football Classic. We will be televising right here on Channel 7. Will be played at Clearwater High School on Wednesday, December the 17th. Good football players right there, Rich and James Adams, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, all these guys are certainly worthy of going to play in that All-Star game, and it's a credit to this program that all of those kids have stuck around and hung in there with James Adams. As I mentioned, they started the season 4 years ago, 0-10, and their philosophy was, hey, let's try and get a little closer every game. Let's try not to lose by so much every game. By this season, they said, hey, let's go out and win every game. We feel that we have the talent to do that, and they almost did it this year. A 7-3 record, remarkable, and they won the districts, and it's just a credit to James Adams and those seniors that you saw on the screen for sticking with this program and making it work.
They've all done a great job. I want to remind you the broadcast rights to this game in the 1997 FHASA Football Championship been granted to Time Warner by the Florida High School Student Activities Association, intended solely for the enjoyment of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of this production without the express written consent of FHSAA is strictly prohibited. Kopke fumbles the ball. Vaughn picks it up on 31 bounce. Fortuitous bounce there if I ever saw one. Pinellas Park will lose yardage, Rich, but they will hold on to the football.
Well, they are lucky it's not any more humid than it is, because then that means the rain would be falling, and I don't think Joe Vaughn would have gotten as friendly a bounce as he got. Luckily, he was trailing the play and came up with the fumble. And those are the kind of bounces you like to see go your way early on. You think maybe the football gods might be in your corner.
We'll set up second down. At about 15, back to the 42. The original line of scrimmage was at about the 37. Vaughn will send a receiver to either side. Green to the wide side. Gary Ponder to the short side. Backs in the I formation. Straight back Vaughn with time, looking for Ponder. Has him on a quick slant. He's popped immediately by Daniil Brown, but he hangs on for a big gain down to about the 31.
Well, Gary Ponder is turning in quite a performance in the early going, his second spectacular catch, and that is all concentration, folks. He went up there and grabbed the ball with two hands. Perfect execution from Gary Ponder in traffic, and this is a hard-hitting St. Pete defense. Took a couple of shots each time he caught the ball, but both times he hung on.
He'll check out now. Justin Loop will check in as James Adams running the plays in with his wide receivers. 3rd and 3. So they picked up 12 yards on that completion. From Vaughn to Ponder. Mangle the fullback, Kopke the tailback in the I formation. Vaughn with time, intercepted. Daniil Brown over there, that was a broken pattern. Daniil Brown is knocked down, fumbles the ball, and I think the Patriots may have recovered. They have. They will have a first down inside the 20 at the 19. Unbelievable turn of events right there, Rich.
Well, what looked like an absolutely disastrous play for Pinellas Park turns out to be another lucky bounce for them. This was a fade pattern that was just cut off short. It looked like it was either Kopke or Eric Davis that was intended for. Neither of them got over there in time, and then a good pop. No quit on this Pinellas Park side, getting a helmet on the football, jarring it loose, and coming up with the ball inside the 20.
Looked like Eric Davis made the big hit from behind. Green was also over there making a tackle. 1st and 10 from the 19.
I guess that's the benefit of having defensive players playing on offense.
Indeed. Vaughn with time firing out here. Mangle cannot quite hang on to it. There was pretty good coverage out there as 81. Amos Phillips was out there, the linebacker for the Green Devils.
Well, this is what you'll see a lot of from the Pinellas Park passing game. If they're not trying that fade pattern, which they do like, especially with David Green, they're going to try getting guys out in the flats, rolling Joe Vaughn out, giving him some more time, buying some more time for Vaughn to let a pass off and get a receiver open. Mangle just couldn't hang on to the ball in that one.
So far, Rich, they've given him ample time to throw the football in this first half of play. The offensive front for the Pinellas Park Patriots. 2nd down and 10. The ball at the 19 of St. Pete. Pinellas Park leading it 3-0. This is Henderson. Henderson hit at the line of scrimmage. Fumbles the football. It was stripped. And I believe the Patriots have come up with it again. That was a nice defensive play there. Yamano Dunbar on the play. Stripping the ball, made the hit at the line of scrimmage.
We got to see Yamano Dunbar a couple of months ago on our game of the week against Northeast, and he had a whale of a football game in that one, flying all over the place, and he did that there, coming over from the end position, getting into the offensive backfield and stripping the ball. But once again, Pinellas Park able to fall on the fumble, and it's only a fumble lost if you give it up.
That was right guard Marcus Nix, number 51, who alertly kept the football for the Patriots by pouncing on the loose ball. 3rd and 12. Slot to the short side. Again, backs in the I formation. Kopke now in a tailback. Toss the ball to Kopke. He'll try to cut it back up, and it'll be run down from behind. Good pursuit, 66. Juan Murillo, 6'2", 265, running Kopke down from behind.
That was a situation where Kopke was a little too quick for his own good. He was waiting for the blocks to be set up. Jay Coleman was the pulling guard, number 56, and he tried to cut back inside of Coleman because Coleman couldn't find anyone to block at first.
4th and 11. It'll be a field goal coming up again from Adam Bradley. This will be a 37-yarder, left to right angle. Kick is up, and it is wide to the left. So the St. Pete Green Devils dodge a bullet. 8:20 remaining in the second quarter. It remains 3-0 Pinellas Park, and the Green Devils, Rich, showing their defensive ability as you take a look at the rest of the matchups going on this evening in the playoffs.
Well, it's certainly a very well-represented group from the Tampa Bay area, Hillsborough County, and obviously in Pinellas County. The big matchup is the one up top, East Lake hosting Sarasota Riverview. That's going to be a heck of a game, and the winner of this game tonight will play the winner of Clearwater at Northeast. Now, that game on paper looks like a blowout, Brian, but I have a feeling that Clearwater's going to play Northeast very tough. They're a team that's been improving week after week, very young coming into this season, and they've kind of grown up as the season's gone on. I wouldn't be surprised if both of these contests are very tightly fought contests.
Well, you're right there. They have improved, and a lot of people are kind of taking them for granted, which could be dangerous. And regardless, there should be some good games on tap next week for us to choose from. Bring you another game next Friday evening, the night after Thanksgiving. We have a timeout on the field. 8:20 remaining in the second quarter. Dusty Boylston and St. Pete have burned this timeout. That's their first. And they need to get some kind of a drive going as you take a look at the Palms Pinellas representatives from the Green Giants, as they call them.
Yeah, they do. They have 4 players going, as you see on the screen: Butler, Loesch, Myrick, and Robinson. And those are the guys they're going to have to count on in a game like this. In a tight game like this, you need Dontrell Butler, who's listed as a wide receiver there, to run the football. And you need Dontrell Butler to catch the football as well. And you need guys like Jamonte Robinson to make tackles like they've been making all year long. They need to do exactly what they've done all season.
Rich, they broke the wishbone that time, sent a wide slot, had Watson come back on a counter, but there wasn't much room there. They got back to the line of scrimmage, and that was it. It's 2nd down and 10. And Eric Davis stayed home, as did the D-line for the Patriots. Again, they'll break the wishbone. Watson, the lone back. They'll send Toby Jackson in motion, give him the ball, trying to get him off tackle. Fumbles the ball, and the Green Devils have come up with it. That was Watson who alertly fell on it, but it will be a loss of 3 yards. It'll set up 3rd down and 13, and the Green Devils are moving backwards.
Well, take a look at Eric Davis. We talked about him flying to the football. He's the one that caused that fumble. He caused the fumble earlier when he had to go back after his team fumbled it. So he has that ability to cause the turnover.
159 total tackles coming in, 9 sacks, 2 caused fumbles this evening, 1 after an interception. 3rd and 13, slot to the short side, straight back Ballou. Looking, has a man out here, caught by Ronald Hemingway, and Hemingway will have a 1st down for the Green Devils. They don't throw it that often, Rich, but when they do, they often pick up big yards. Hemingway, only 19 completions for 458 yards. That's 25 yards per completion.
And Hemingway is your former quarterback for this team as well. He came in to this season thinking he was going to be the quarterback. Hemingway doing a good job of hanging on to the ball before he's corralled.
That's what I meant. It was Ballou who has the 25 yards per completion. Remember, Hemingway was a quarterback. They give the ball here this time, not much room, as they give it to 21 DJ Jones. And the Patriots are really tough tonight between the tackles.
Eric Davis getting his troop set for the next play, and he's someone that James Adams really counts on to be a leader on the field, and he's a leader by example, not necessarily a vocal type of leader, but if there's a D1 prospect on this team, he is the one, being recruited very heavily by USF, possibly UCF. Leads the team with 72 solo tackles, over 100 total tackles this year.
And he makes another solo tackle right there as he just rips DJ Jones to the ground. St. Pete, fortunate he did not fumble. Davis at 6'3", 225, has to run in the 4.6, 4.7 range, and he is quick to the football.
And those are the guys that are very popular right now amongst college recruiters. You're seeing linebackers with athletic ability like Eric Davis possesses, so it's pretty easy to predict that he'll have success at the next level as well.
Good-looking athlete. If he keeps working hard in the classroom, should have success. 3rd and long. We'll call it 3rd and 8 in the wishbone. Play action, Ballou straight back, looking deep into double coverage and just overthrowing Ronald Hemingway. Pretty good coverage out there. Green was back there for Pinellas Park, as was Kopke. 4th and 8, and a punting situation coming up again. The third punt of the first half for Juan Murillo and the Green Devils.
We haven't heard from David Green on offense yet, but he's certainly making his presence felt on defense so far. Sticking with Ron Hemingway step for step. David Green, one of the speediest players in Pinellas County.
And he'll be the deep man for the Patriots, awaiting the punt. Now Pinellas Park has been forced to call a timeout. James Adams not happy. I don't think he had his full complement of players on the field. Take a look at the 5A9 standings. This is the district that Pinellas Park won with the one loss in the district, 7-3 overall. And
James Adams said earlier in the week the biggest win of the year came against Dunedin. That's when his team was really decimated by injury. They could have easily gone in there and lost that game to a Dunedin team that's very talented. We saw them a couple of weeks ago on our Game of the Week, but instead they came out with a 24-7 win, and that really solidified things for this team. It stopped a bit of a losing streak that they had, and it really made them believe that, yeah, we can win this district, and they went out and did just that.
And they finally got over the hurdle of beating Clearwater High School. Hadn't beat them in about 10 years. Murillo with another fine punt. Green's going to let it hit. That's a mistake. Hits it to 20, picks it up on a bounce, and is spun down right there. That's great downfield coverage by Dontrell Butler. Butler got there and looked like Green might have a chance to break it outside when he picked it up on the bounce, and Butler would not let him get out of it.
Well, we've seen David Butler on defense. We've seen him on special teams. It's just a matter of time before we see him on offense, I can assure you of that.
Dontrell Butler, number 3, has 12 catches coming in for 205 yards. He averages 17 yards every time he catches the football for the Green Devils. He had an opportunity earlier in the game, had one go off his hands in double coverage, and he's caught 4 touchdown passes. Davis checks out. He'll get a break from the tight end position. Backs in the I formation to give the ball up the middle to the fullback, and he is ripped down after a gain of about 3. That's Bassant on the carry, the junior.
There's number 72, Casey Loesch, in on the tackle. Loesch along with Murillo, the real leaders, the heart and soul of this defensive line. They've been 3-year starters for Dusty Boylston, and he has nothing but the highest praise for guys like Casey Loesch and Juan Murillo.
Loesch came in with 65 tackles. 7 of them were for losses, 3 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. He got some help there from 79 Goody Morris. 2nd down and 6. Wide slot to the left, offset I. Give the ball to the fullback, Bassant, right side. And he falls forward. He fumbled the ball. It looked like he may have fumbled it, Rich. It was kind of a goofy play, and he did. And St. Pete has come up with it. Tom Powers says the Green Devils have it, and that's the break possibly they needed to get back in this game.
Well, this is where size does play a factor. Bassant lost the ball, and when you have all those big bodies in white jerseys and green helmets, it's going to be hard to come away with the football after you fumble it. And Gudea Morris, the sophomore, comes in and grabs it.
He's a big guy. He's been active. 1st and 10 for St. Pete. Their best field position by far at the Pete Park 28. Wishbone, 2 tight ends. Collision with the quarterback. Ballou will just try to make something out of it. Broken play. Spins forward a couple of times and actually gets positive yardage. Picks up about 2 or 3. Ran into his fullback, and after that, the play just disintegrated.
Well, I think the St. Pete offensive line thought there was going to be a flag on this play. There was some movement on the defensive side by the Patriots, but I didn't see a yellow flag come down on the field, and then it was up to Charlie Ballou to improvise a little bit, and he did a pretty decent job.
You got a good look there at Charlie, the 5'10", 155-pound junior. 2nd down and 7. Give the ball right side, 43 with it. That's Roosevelt Stevens. Good 2nd and 3rd effort by Stevens. He shouldn't have got past the line of scrimmage, and again, he gets positive yardage. inside the 20. They'll spot it at the 19. That'll be 3rd and 2. That's a nice gain that time by Stevens, the sophomore running back.
And let's credit Mike Schmidt, number 78, who fell off his block at first but then came back to get another block. That stick-to-itiveness by Mike Schmidt, the 6'1", 280-pound junior, which really sprung number 43 Stevens free.
Toss the ball to Watson. It's behind him. It's on the ground. Watson comes up with it, but it's a major loss. That's got to set up 4th down and 11. And it was 3rd and a long 1, and the Green Devils continue to shoot themselves in the foot.
Both of these teams throughout the season have had troubles on and off with fumbleitis, and that's something that you cannot afford to do in the playoffs.
Well, they faked it into DJ Jones. If they gave it to him, he probably would have had the 1st down. Tried to get Watson outside. The pitch was behind him. 4th and a long 11. They're going to go for it. Wishbone, wide receiver to the left. Play action, Ballou. Looking on the deep fade pattern, and it's incomplete. Try to get it out to Ronald Hemingway. Again, double coverage out there by Green and Kopke. They've been all over the field defensively in the secondary for the Patriots. And the Patriots have turned back the Green Devils once again with 2:18 this time remaining in the first half.
And even though Charlie Blues played basically every snap behind center this season, it's a tough task to ask a junior quarterback with not a whole lot of experience to make that play against the defense as quick to the ball as the Pinellas Park defense has been.
Well, when they're running out of the wishbone, Rich, on 4th and a long 11 with one receiver out on the pattern, it's not hard to cover. And that's exactly what happened there. 1st and 10 from their own 29 for the Patriots. 2:18 and counting remaining here in the first half. This is Henderson. Henderson picks up about 3. We'll see whether James Adams tries to get the ball down the field, Rich, and get another score. He'll just be intent of running the clock out here at the end of the half. Timeout has been called by St. Pete. They want to get a stop and get one more opportunity as Dusty Boylston comes out, talk things over with his defensive troops.
A much kinder, gentler Dusty Boylston this season, Brian. He's normally known as a screamer and a yeller, and he's the first one to admit that. But this season he came in, really felt good about his kids, really felt good about the situation they were in. They were very close the last 2 years to making the playoffs. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago they did make the playoffs before they had to forfeit 3 games because of an ineligible player. Last year they missed the playoffs by 1 game, and this year you talked about Clearwater being the big win for Pinellas Park this year. Their big win for St. Pete was against Dixie Hollins. Beating that team really set them up for the rest of the season to make the playoffs.
And Rich, the only game they did not play good football in was the Tarpon Springs opening day, lost 22-0 September 5th, and Dusty said, hey, my team just wasn't ready to play. After that, they bounced back nicely. They beat Bogey in a close one, and after that, they lost to Northeast and won 7 straight since then. And Northeast was only 11-7 in a game they could have won.
And I'll go out on a limb and say that was the best-looking girl I've seen in the stands tonight.
This is Henderson spinning it out near and has a 1st down across the 40. Of course, that is the daughter of our own Carrie Lee McLaughlin, and Tom McLaughlin, our camera guy there.
Starting her out early as a football
mama
fan.
and papa there.
And Tom McLaughlin, a Pinellas Park graduate. Not that he's rooting one way or the other.
Is that why we're doing this game, Rich? I thought there was some insider information going on here or something. 1st and 10 from their own 40 for the Patriots. 1:40 and counting remaining in the first half. The Patriots lead at 3-0. Henderson spun down at the line of scrimmage. Good penetration by the Green Devils.
Brian, Eddie Henderson really symbolizes what this Pinellas Park program has been about. He's only a sophomore, and he's getting a lot of reps this season, and he's one of those players that James Adams a few years ago couldn't get to come out for the football team. Now he's getting the talent. Now with success comes these type of players, and they're going to have success for years to come now.
Well, Rich, I have a son, as you know, it's in 8th grade, and the big thing in school is it cool? And football was not cool here 4 years ago when they were 0-10. It was hard for him to get anybody to come out. James Adams, he did a great job, as you talked about, of instilling pride in the program and getting athletes to want to come back out and participate on a winning team.
It's hard to understand sometimes, kids, but if it's not cool and you're going to get teased for doing it, they just won't do it. And now you don't tease them when they're 8-2 and 7-3 in back-to-back seasons.
And they go 0-10 in '94. It's got to be one of the most dramatic turns around in Pinellas County. Last year they had an even more impressive record at 8-3, but they missed the playoffs because they lost their 2 district games to Clearwater and to Jefferson. Jefferson no longer in the district, so James Adams really completing the turnaround this year, even though they were just 7-3 with the district championship.
Well, delay of game right there he's not happy about. 54 seconds left, marches them back 5 yards. It's 2nd and 15 from their own 36-yard line. Trip receivers to the wide side, give the ball to Kopke instead, and it looks like he's going to be intent on just running the clock out. Timeout is called on the field by St. Petersburg. They would like them to try to force them to punt because they're very good at blocking punts and creating things with their special teams and defensive unit.
St. Pete just called the timeout, and as the offense for the Pinellas Park Patriots was trotting onto the field, the first 2 people that quarterback Joe Vaughn talked to were David Green and Justin Loop. Those are his 2 favorite wide receivers, and on 46 ticks left on the clock, don't be surprised if you see Pinellas Park try some type of a long pass play to one of those 2 receivers right now. That might be what James Adams is discussing in the huddle.
Maybe talking about that, but with St. Pete out of timeouts, he may just try to run the ball too and try to run this clock out or run it down as much as possible. We'll see. It's 3rd down and 11. The ball at Pinellas Park's own 39. High formation, receiver to either side. Ponder. Halfback pass by Loop. He's the backup quarterback trying to get it down here to Green, and it's well covered. Double coverage, and he let him a little bit too much, and he got popped as he threw the football by Casey Lausch. Casey Loesch, number 72, 6'3", 245 senior, almost picked up his 4th sack of the year. So 4th and 11, and they will punt it, Rich, and there's 40 seconds remaining, and the Green Devils are dangerous. We'll see whether they decide to come after Justin Loop. This will be Justin Loop's first punt of the first half for Pinellas Park.
That wasn't too much of a trick play, even though they threw the ball with a wide receiver. Justin Loop is the backup quarterback on this team, and he almost had David Green on that play.
High, short punt, end over end. They're going to let it hit. Hits at the 38, bounces backward, and Eric Davis right there to smother it at about the 39 is where they'll spot it. And the Green Devils will have 31.5 seconds remaining here in the half. They trail it 3-0. And so far, this is a little bit of an upset, Rich, here in the first half. The first game was a dominating 27-7 St. Petersburg win. Coach James Adams told us he did not think that his team would get dominated like that this evening. He thought they were healthier and a little better football team than they were when that game took place mid-season.
Well, St. Pete came in on a roll. They won 6 games in a row, and basically everyone that you talk to, as far as the media outlets are concerned, had them favored going into this game. I think you have to realize that this is a Pinellas Park team, and this is by no means a cliche, even though we talk about the pride is back in the park. This is a very proud Pinellas Park team. They've made the climb from 0-10. A lot of these guys who are on the team were there when the team was 0-10, and I think they realize that even though the score looked pretty ugly a few weeks back against St. Petersburg, this was going to be a completely different game, and so far it has been. If St. Pete doesn't watch it and Pinellas Park plays up to their potential, this game could continue the way it has in the first half.
2nd and 10 after the first down incompletion. Blue back to pass, looking underneath, has his receiver. The ball's popped loose. Is it incomplete? Yes, it is. It was a bang-bang play. Ronald Hemingway caught it, and he was popped by Kopke, who was down holding his forearm or his wrist. That's why they like Kopke back there, though, Rich. He's a big-time hitter, and he's got good closing speed and reads plays well.
Well, Ballou just kind of gunsling this one into Hemingway. Hemingway got his hands on it, but he was popped.
That was actually David Green on the hit, and Kopke was the man there and tried to recover the fumble. And I think when he dove for the ball is when he jarred his wrist. He appears to be okay, though. 3rd down and 10, so credit David Green with the nice close, popping the ball loose from Hemingway. Split the backs, Ballou on play action. Firing over the middle, has his receiver, Dontrell Butler. Butler cuts it up inside the 30. Look out, Dontrell Butler inside the 20 and run out of bounds. He'll spot the ball at the 13. 9.7 seconds left in the first half. Do you run another play or do you kick it? There's a flag back here near the line of scrimmage. Ineligible receiver downfield. This one will come back, Rich.
Well, that was as pretty a pass play as you will see. Dontrell Butler doing it all after the catch, also showing good speed to outrace some of the P Park defenders. Penalties have definitely been the nemesis of the St. Pete Green Devils throughout the season. If there was one weakness, is that they had a tendency to commit the costly penalty, and this is no different right here.
And that has slowed them down this evening. A few penalties, some miscues on pitches, not handling the ball cleanly and efficiently. And that's a big one.
Replay third down.
It wipes out a 46-yard pass and run from Charlie Ballou to Dontrell Butler. And as you mentioned, Butler very impressive running the football after he caught it. No wonder Ballou averages 25 yards every time he completes a pass when he's got receivers that are that athletic. 3rd and 15, 9.7 seconds remaining in the first half. The Patriots holding on to a 3-0 lead. And they're just going to take a knee and run this clock out. That will be the final play of the first half with the score Pinellas Park 3, St. Petersburg nothing. We'll take a break and be back with our halftime show. You are watching the high school football game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7. Brian Unks, Rich Hollenberg back with you at Pinellas Park High School at halftime, where Pinellas Park leads St. Pete by the score of 3-0, the opening round of the Class 5A state football playoffs. Let's take a look now at the first half highlights. Pinellas Park got the ball, drove from their 27 down to the 10. The drive stalled. Adam Bradley will connect on a 27-yard field goal to make it 3-0 Pinellas Park at the time. Rich, after that, it was a story of two defenses here. Kopke run down from behind by Juan Murillo.
Yeah, Mark Kopke was the key to that opening drive that resulted in the field goal, but after that, he was shut down and chased down. This time you see big number 66 running him down from behind. That's some good athleticism from a big kid, Juan Murillo.
On the other side of the line of scrimmage, DJ Jones will get the handoff, and here's Eric Davis making one of many plays in the first half.
Eric Davis has certainly been worth his money in gold, worth his weight in gold. Big number 25 making stops all over the field in the first half.
And the statistics, a couple of turnovers by Pinellas Park. They fumbled twice more and recovered their own fumbles, or it could be worse for them.
But you look at the total yards, 119 to 31. You're thinking maybe Pinellas Park should have a more than a 3-0 lead right now.
Indeed, and 31 yards for St. Pete. They had a 46-yard pass play at the end of the half called back due to an ineligible man downfield. We'll take a quick break. At halftime, 3-0 Pinellas Park, and be back with second half action. You're watching the game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7. Brian Unks, Rich Hollenberg back with you at Pinellas Park High School, getting set for second half action. The Patriots holding on to a 3-0 lead, largely, Rich, due to that man right there. You just saw Eric Davis was spectacular defensively. Both teams playing good defense in the first half.
Yeah, I don't think either coach is going to be too satisfied with the way the offense is played. You saw also Gary Ponder made a couple of real nice catches in the first half. I wouldn't be surprised if Pinellas Park can establish the running game early on in the second, if they go a little more to the passing game, try and open up the score a little bit, because 3-0 against St. Pete is certainly not safe.
John Domier to kick off for St. Pete. Squibs it again and picked up nicely on one bounce by David DeCore. David DeCore alertly, Rich, keeping that ball from rolling probably another 15 yards, and his team will take over in great field position at their own 40.
And it's funny, that's the first time we've seen John Domeyer on the field. They were down close to field goal range and decided to go for it early on, so they kept him on the sidelines. And then when they had that 46-yard pass play, he might have had a chance to come on the field and kick a field goal. but it was negated because of a penalty. So John Domeyer seeing his first action of the game tonight.
Tried to squib one, and Decora was right there. Trips to the wide side. Vaughn will roll it this way under pressure, tosses it out to Kopke. Kopke picks up about 4. Run out of bounds aggressively by Jamonte Robinson, the man we featured in our pregame show.
And if I'm a Pinellas Park fan, I'm happy to see them coming out throwing. As I said, they established the ground game in the first half and grinded away to a 3-0 lead. But with the arm of Joe Vaughn, and maybe they're thinking that they wore this St. Pete defense down just a bit, they might be able to go up top on them in the second half.
Well, give Kopke a 3-yard gain. Trips to the wide side this time. Kopke the lone back. First time in his 2 plays in a row we've seen this formation this evening from the Patriots. Kopke takes it up the middle, spread him out, run Kopke up the middle. Kopke has a first down just across midfield, down to the St. Pete 49.
And guess who again, in on the tackle, one of a couple of Green Devils, number 55, Jamonte Robinson. It's going to end up being a showcase for Robinson and Eric Davis on defense tonight.
Robinson with 103 total tackles coming in. Davis with 159 total tackles. Trip receivers to the wide side. Kopke the lone back. Bassant, the normal fullback, is a wing back in the trip receiver formation. Kopke rolling it to that wide side. Under some pressure, steps out of it, and just throws the ball away. Good defensive pressure from Yamano Dunbar. We saw him in the first half, Rich. He's 6'3", he's 195. He comes in with 12 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and he caused the pressure right there and made Vaughn throw it away.
And I like that play by Joe Vaughn, though. Obviously, you're not happy if you're Pinellas Park having to waste it down like that, but that shows some senior maturity by Joe Vaughn, not trying to force the ball in there, throwing into double coverage. Just took the ball, tossed it out of bounds, and let's line them up again and try it one more time.
Second down and 10. That's exactly what they'll do. This time they send the slot to the short side, and they send a receiver. So 4 receivers out. Receiver to the wide side. Kopke up the middle. Nowhere. Again, tried to spread them out, and the Patriots would not buy it. Or the Green Devils think that would not buy it. They were there with a solid wall to knock him backwards. And that's a nice double team play by Juan Murillo and Casey Loesch. Juan Murillo and Casey Loesch, the defensive tackles, closing things down, knocking their blockers right back into the ball carrier Kopke. Third down and 10 from the midfield stripe. Kopke checks out. Eddie Henderson, the sophomore, checks in. They'll send trips to the wide side again. Henderson, the lone back behind Vaughn. Vaughn rolling it that way. Trying to throw back down this way to Justin Loop. Loop with a one-handed grab. Unbelievable grab by Loop at the 22. First and 10 from there for the Patriots, and what an athletic play by the backup quarterback, Justin Loop.
You will not see a better catch all season long than this one turned in by Justin Loop. I love the play call, too. They had wide receivers wide to the left side, and they go to the near side. Justin Loop, the only receiver on that side, and he goes up and makes a heck of a grab. One-handed, fabulous concentration. Justin Loop turning in what could very well be the play of the year in Pinellas County football.
And Dontrell Butler was underneath that, waiting to try to intercept it. 23-yard gain on the pass play from Vaughn to Loop to move the ball down to the 23. Henderson carries it to about the 20. Give him a gain of about 2. It'll be 2nd and 8 for Pinellas Park. They got down here in the first half. Rich got a little bit conservative, I thought, and had to kick a 27-yard field goal. We'll see whether they try to throw the ball a little bit more right here. Take a look at this.
Yeah, let's take another look. Great coverage downfield. Butler thought he had a sure interception, and they said, where'd the ball go? Well, it went into Justin Loop's hand. What a terrific catch by Justin Loop.
He's a wide receiver to the left side. Ponder next to him. Offset I formation with Bassant and Kopke in the backfield. Play action, Vaughn with time. Now it's going to throw it away as they got late pressure on him. And again, there is Yamano Dunbar, the senior, coming hard off the end, putting pressure on Joe Vaughn.
Well, they had a similar set just now than they did when Justin caught that ball. They had trips receivers on the left side, and David Green was the lone receiver on the near side. They were looking for him, but he was nicely covered by number 8, Ron Hemingway. So taking that advantage away from the Pinellas Park Patriots, Joe Vaughn opts to once again throw it out of bounds.
5 for 9 for 75 yards. This is a good secondary he is throwing against. Loop to the short side, slot to the wide side with Ponder and Green. Kopke the lone back, Vaughn rolling it to the wide side. Under pressure, and again, we'll just throw it away, and wisely so, because, Rich, there was absolutely no one open. 3 receivers downfield, and they were blanketed by the Green Devils. 4th down and 7, and here comes number 81, Adam Bradley, to attempt a long field goal.
So far, Bradley 1 for 2 on the night in field goal attempts. He kicked a 20-plus yarder, but missed a 37-yarder, I believe it was, deep into the second quarter of play. So let's see if he could put his team up by 6.
This will be about a 37-yarder, tough right to left angle. The holder is Loop. It's down, it's up, and it's going to be short and wide to the left. So he popped it up a little bit, got underneath it, and the ball has been called dead. As you see the players hustling down there, Davis along with a couple of Green Devils. Maybe they thought it was arena football, Rich, and it was a live football, but the back judge back there blowing it dead. It goes into the end zone. That'll be a touchback and come out to the 20.
Well, that is a smart play by the players to run over there and just make sure. I think that if the ball landed outside of the end zone, it could have been a live ball.
And possibly they thought, since it was short, that it might have been tipped. So alertly, they can't always tell. They went down there to make sure, especially the Green Devils. 1st and 10 from their 20 for the Green Devils. They dodge another bullet. Pinellas Park continues to lead at 3-0. Blue on an option, tosses it out to Toby Jackson. That was an ugly option, but improvisation there and pick up maybe a yard. Almost a forward toss there, but they were behind the line of scrimmage, so that is illegal. If it was forward, that would be considered a pass play instead of a run play.
It looked like Charlie Blue had every intention of keeping that himself until he saw the blue jerseys in front of him.
Give him a gain of a yard, the long yard. 2nd down and 9. Wishbone formation, receiver to the short side. Straight up the middle, Myrick the fullback. Myrick trying to move that pile. Tough yards. He gets out to maybe the 25. Going to spot him just across the 25. And that'll bring up 3rd down and a short 5.
Well, aside from a couple of penalties in the first half, this has been a relatively cleanly played game by both sides. And I'll tell you what, that's a bad sign for the St. Pete Green Devils. The time is ticking by very quickly. And with no penalties being called, that means the clock's not being stopped. They need to mount a drive right here. They have not won the battle of field position in this game by any stretch.
Hemingway and Butler in the slot on the right side. Davis coming on a blitz up the middle. Buying time, Ballou will turn the corner and try to run, and he'll pick up his 1st down. Good job by the junior quarterback to break out of the initial pressure up the middle, turn the corner, and pick up the 1st down on the scramble.
Well, Andrew Bassant had the pressure on, so did Eric Davis. A little bit of over pursuit, and Charlie Ballou showing some athleticism, flushed out of the pocket, makes the most of the situation, and picks up the 1st down.
Credit Juan Murillo for picking up Davis on the blitz initially. The guard alertly there closing down the hole at 6'2", 265. 2nd man through, straight through there is Roosevelt Stevens, and he has very close to another 1st down for the Green Devils. This will depend on the spot they may have to measure. The sophomore running back breaking through cleanly that time, following his fullback Myrick.
Well, Roosevelt Stevens really made a name for himself this year on special teams, returning kicks. He had an 88-yard turn for a touchdown against Dunedin. But now getting the call at the running back position and making the most of his opportunity.
Late flag on the play, Rich. Let's see what Tom Powers.
Sportsmanlike over here.
Sportsmanlike against.
All right, let's measure. Let's measure.
Not make James Adams happy. David Decor is checking out of the game momentarily and may have an equipment problem with his helmet. He's been replaced by Robert Van Sickle. But the 15-yard penalty will move St. Petersburg into Pinellas Park territory, all the way down to the Patriot 38.
I guess I put the Goocher on Pinellas Park. I was saying how both teams have played without being hurt by that many penalties. Obviously, the one that you remember is the 46-yard gain that was negated late in the second half. But this is the really the first penalty that's hurt Pinellas Park, and it remains to be seen if the Green Devils will capitalize.
You have to keep your poise. Those unsportsmanlike will kill you. 1st and 10 from the Patriot 38 for the Green Devils. Second man through is Roosevelt Stevens. Breaks it into the secondary. Ankle tackle by Kopke, or he may have been off for a touchdown. Kopke took the angle, got him around the ankles, drags him down, but not until he picks up another first down to the Pinellas Park 26.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is St. Pete Green Devil football. The Patriots showing blitz on the play, bringing 9 up in the box, and Roosevelt Stevens getting a block off the right side and breaking it upfield to pick up another first down for the Green Devils. That's what they've done all year long, Brian.
12-yard gain to move the sticks to the 26. Wishbone formation. This is Watson, the big guy. Rolls inside the 25 to about the 24.
Great job by David Decor, big number 52. He's been one of the great leaders on this P Park defense. And he knows the best way to take down someone as big as Dontrell Watson is to get low and get him at the legs, and that's exactly what he did. David Decor, 6'4", 245-pound senior, getting it done.
Fought off a block from one of the big offensive linemen, dove down there to make the play. 2nd and 8. Watson again, they're just going to move that pile forward. They hit him near the line of scrimmage, and Rich, they moved that pile at least 5 yards. Credit that big offensive front and the big 230-pound running back Watson.
We're starting to feel the momentum shifting just a little bit towards the St. Pete Green Devils. They haven't been able to establish any momentum so far in this game. This is the first sustained drive that they have all night long, and it looks impressive.
You saw that ball come loose, but they rolled him down. 3rd down and 2. Toss the ball outside. Rodney or Toby Jackson make that. Turns the corner inside the 10. He'll have a 1st and goal from the 8-yard line for the Green Devils. Jackson taking the pitch from Ballou, turning the corner for the 1st down.
And again, Mark Kopke in there on the tackle. Charlie Ballou gets the option off cleanly. Toby Jackson corrals it in and shows some nice speed getting to the outside and turning the corner. But once again, you can't say enough about the job that Mark Kopke has done. A couple of great tackles to save big gains.
Yes, sir. 2 touchdown-saving tackles on this drive. Straight up the middle on the dive on the right side. Roosevelt Stevens, the sophomore, gets it down to the 6 for a gain of about 2. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 6. You see Eric Davis looking over for the defensive signals from the sideline, trying to rally his troops. 5 minutes and counting remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Pinellas Park holding on to the 3-0 lead. The Green Devils with their most impressive drive by far of this contest.
And this is the first time the P Park defense has really been tested. Let's see if they answer the bell.
Ballou on play action over the middle. Intercepted by Green! This is David Green down the left sideline, cuts it back. He's going to be spun down by Ballou at the 5. Unbelievable turn of events. Rich, they're running the ball at will, and they try a play action from the 6 on 2nd and goal, and he throws it right to David Green. I cannot believe it.
David Green has a knack for making big, key interceptions when his team needs it the most. He did this in our game of the week the last time we saw him, and he does it again in the end zone. It was a nicely thrown ball by Ballou. I was watching him the whole way, and he threw it right on the money, except David Green was able to play a little bit of center field and step in and make the catch.
That's exactly right, because Jeremiah Chambliss was the cover man. He fell down. Ballou thought he had a wide-open touchdown, and Green coming over from the other side. It didn't even see him, and he threw it right to him. Great play by Green. Turnovers are 2 apiece, and I thought St. Pete was going to run that ball into the end zone. The way they were running it, Rich, they try to pass it, and it backfires. Green brings it out near the 25. Vaughn on play action, hits Bassan out in the flat. Bassan across the 30, and they'll spot him out at the 34-yard line. That's a pickup of 9 yards on 1st down for Andrew Bassan, the fine junior fullback.
Now it'll once again be up to this Green Devil defense to keep the clamps on this Pinellas Park offense. Andrew Brissant coming out of the backfield, making his second catch of the night from Joe Vaughn.
DJ Jones knocked him out of bounds defensively for the Green Devils. Spotted out near the 35. It's second down and a very short one. That's a gain of almost 10 yards on first down. So that time the Patriots defensively a moment ago dodging the bullet. We've seen the Green Devils do it a couple of times to keep this game close at 3-0. Pinellas Park continues to lead. We are in the third quarter. Henderson's hitting the backfield, spinning forward to the line of scrimmage and just across, and he may have the first down. He's fortunate to hold on to the football because he was stuck as soon as he got the ball from Vaughn. Look at this hit.
This was number 54, I believe, Paul Letellier coming in and making a huge stop.
There's a good look at Paul, the big offensive, defensive lineman. He's only a junior. That was almost his sixth tackle for a loss, but somehow Henderson fought back to the line of scrimmage, got the foot they needed to move the chains just across the 35. Slot to the left, offset I formation, play action Vaughn. Firing back across the middle, has Loop for a first down. It depends on the mark, and it's going to be very close, and I think they've marked him just short. He actually had another foot or two, but the officials were not right there with the same view that we have from up here. It'll be just short, and it'll be second down and about a foot, but another nice pass play from Vaughn to Justin Loop.
Well, this is something that all receivers have to learn to do a little bit better on any level of football. You see it in the college game and in the pro game. If you need 10 yards, you have to go out 11, because if you're going to turn back and catch the ball, you never know where the ball is going to be spotted. The ball spotted just at the line, so they only give him second and inches, but still, that could have been a first down for Pinellas Park.
Fortunately for Loop, it was a first down and not a third down play. Second and short, offset I again, Bassant and Kopke, the running backs. And a dead ball infraction. This may be a delay of game. It is. And that's a weird call. It didn't seem like they took an inordinate amount of time to get the play in or off, but these officials are not, these teams are not used to the officials. They're from another area in the state tournament, and sometimes you have to get used to each other. Delay of game called, and it's second down now and second down and 5 make it.
Joe Vaughn having an efficient, if not spectacular night, 7 for 12, 94 yards.
Vaughn rolling it out to the wide side under some heavy pressure underneath. Good coverage. The ball short hops Loop. That's good coverage by DJ Jones. Keeping Vaughn from being able to complete the pass to Justin Loop.
Pinellas Park content to run mostly in the first half. This half they've come out more passing than running, and have met with mediocre success so far. Credit the St. Pete defensive secondary for doing a good job of controlling the receivers of the Patriots. David Green, Justin Loop, just two of them.
Green will check out. Alan Gamble, the junior wide receiver 18, checks in to replace him on third and along 5. Slot to the right, wide receiver to the left. Vaughn rolling it this way, firing underneath, and it is incomplete. Looked like Dontrell Butler was all over the back of Mark Kopke, the Pinellas Park faithful here in front of us, and wanted the flag, but the officials saying that Butler playing the ball almost came up with the interception.
Well, this pass intended for Gary Ponder, and he was calling for it. It got there a little bit late. I don't know if I would make that call either. I think Dontrell Butler's going for the ball. He's trying to make a play.
Well, you know, our friend Mark Robinson would say that's a great play by a defensive back. He's got every right to break to the football, and he did not run through the receiver. He sort of ran around. He put his arm on his back, but it wasn't a big hit. It looked like a good call by the officiating crew, the non-call. 4th and 6, so a good drive stalled by the delay of game, and they're going to have to punt. Loop the punter. Ronald Hemingway, the deep man. Pretty good pressure, nice, fine, high punt. Hemingway calls the fair catch, and he takes it at his 29. 2:32 remaining in the third quarter. The defenses from both teams making the plays when they have to. Pinellas Park holding on to the 3-0 lead. The 27-yard field goal at the 2:35 mark of the first quarter by Adam Bradley, the only score of this contest.
Brian, this game could end up coming down to who gets into the end zone first with the way these two defenses are playing. Either that or look for a defensive or a special teams touchdown to turn the tide of this game.
Roosevelt Stevens trying to get outside, cannot completely get that corner turned. A host of Patriots pursuing to the football. Gang tackling him after a gain of 4.
Hey, 4.5 back. Hey. 35, 7-1.
Dusty Boylston's defense has lived up to its billing. They came into this game, as far as defensive stats are concerned, 6th in the county in total defense, giving up only 187 yards a game, and 5th in scoring defense, giving up just over 10 points a game.
Myrick, the fullback, gets the first down. Needed to get across the 39, gets it out across the 40. The big guy, number 35, goes in at about 230 pounds. Tough guy to bring down one-on-one, Rich.
Certainly is, and he's one of that big crop of running backs that they have. They mostly have fullbacks except for guys like DJ Jones, Toby Jackson, Daniil Brown. The other guys they have, Golfin, number 35, Rodney Myrick, Dontrell Watson. All these guys are big bruisers.
Officials timeout. I think there was an injury on the play or an equipment problem, but 43 had to come out, Joseph Robinson for Pinellas Park.
Talk about a big bruiser. There's Moses Williams, number 54, probably the biggest bruiser that we have on the field tonight.
1st and 10. Give the ball straight up the middle. That was Watson on the carry, another 230-pounder. So you've got a running back at 230. You've got a fullback in Myrick, both seniors at 230. Both of them average. Watson averages 8.8 yards a carry. Myrick, for a fullback at 230, Rich, averages just under 10 yards a carry coming into this game.
Most other teams, you'd have them on the offensive line.
Yes, you would, but they're great athletes and they've got big offensive linemen at St. Pete. Under a minute remaining, 3rd quarter. Second man through, Watson again, moving the pile, and he'll move the chains as he gets across midfield. That'll be enough for a first down. Stop the clock to move the chains. That's a gain of 7. It was 2nd down and 6. And St. Pete now, Rich, looks like they want to get behind that big offensive line. And you see one of the big linemen right there, 78 Mike Schmidt, 6'1", 280. Glenn Richard, our ace photographer, producer, down there doing the sidelight camera. That's his neighbor, big 78 Mike Schmidt. Toby Jackson on the carry, and not much there that time. Jackson a grudging yard at best. Gang tackled and driven backwards by the Patriots defense.
You try and mix it up a little, show a little variation, run one of the smaller backs in there, and it doesn't meet with too much success. Pinellas Park was ready for that one. Don't be surprised if Dusty Boylston goes right back to his big fullbacks on the next couple of plays.
That will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. With the score, Pinellas Park 3, St. Petersburg nothing. We'll take a timeout and be back with 4th quarter action. The winner will move on to the next round of the 5A state playoffs. They'll play the winner of the Clearwater Northeast game. 1 quarter left to see who takes it. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7. Brian Ox, Rich Hollenberg, back at Pinellas Park High School. 4th quarter getting set to start. Pinellas Park, St. Pete, the right to move on to the 5A state football tournament against the winner of the Clearwater Northeast game. Up the middle, ball on the ground, but they're going to say it was blown dead. That was Myrick again, the fullback, and St. Pete right now, Rich, trailing at 3-0, seems content to use the big backs and the big offensive line and grind a drive out here.
And they've been able to do that in the second half. The Green Devils were knocking on the door on their last offensive possession before they decided to go to the aerial assault and threw an interception. I think they've learned from their mistakes, and they're going to keep the ball on the ground.
Big 3rd down and 5 play coming up right here. They'll send a receiver out to the left side. That's Darryl Moore. Backs in the wishbone. Tight end is on the right side of the formation. Roosevelt Stevens, right side, is going to come up a yard and a half shy of the first down. Decision time coming up right now for Dusty Boylston. It'll be 4th and a long yard. Does he punt it or does he go for it?
I don't think there's any question that you have to go for it on this situation. You're inside enemy territory. Your defense is playing well right now anyway. I say you go for it. Give the ball to one of your big boys and let him do his work.
They need to get across the 40. The ball is at the 41. We're going to break the bone this time with a double wing. The lone back is Myrick, the senior fullback. Run the counter play to Watson. Watson trying to get by Davis. Gets by Davis and gets the first down. Has the corner turned inside the 30. Running over defenders. Let's see where they mark it. They'll spot him down near the 20. So they crossed them up. Davis almost got there to stop the play, but Watson would not be denied and showed great speed for a 230-pounder.
Very impressive job of running by Dontrell Watson. It looked for a second like he might be shut down behind the line of scrimmage, but he just kept those legs churning and was able to get past David Green, break a tackle there, and then the presence of mind to keep his legs about him and stay in bounds and running over 2 or 3 Pinellas Park defenders before Mark Kopke runs him out of bounds.
Was that Dontrell Watson or was that Mike Allstock? Similar to the types of plays the big Bucks fullback have been running. 1st and 10 from the 21. Watson again lowers the shoulders inside the 20, down to the 16.
I don't think you're going to see Charlie Ballou dropping back to pass anytime soon now that they're once again inside the red zone. This is Dontrell Watson's time. It's Dontrell Watson's game right now, and he will be getting the bulk of the carries.
He is down, however, after that carry. He'll need to come off for at least a play. High school rules. You see the numbers, 11 carries for 62 yards. Most of them rich here in the second half. He's up under his own power and hopefully just got the wind knocked out of him or something minor like that. Again, in high school football, though, you need to come off for at least a play when you're down with an injury. 2nd down and 5. He picked up 5 yards on that carry. The ball at the 16. Just under 10 minutes remaining. Pinellas Park holding on to the 3-0 lead. First man through, Myrick the fullback, moving the pile. We'll have a first down and some inside the 10, all the way down to about the 5. Impressive run by Rodney Myrick, the 230-pound senior fullback.
And I'll tell you what makes that even more impressive is what he did that against. Mike McGee had him wrapped up right there, and he just kept dragging Pinellas Park defenders all the way down. What a job by the offensive line, continuing to push that defensive line of the Patriots back, and giving their fullbacks a chance to gain that extra yardage.
Mike Schmidt, Casey Loesch, Chris Littlefield, Juan Murillo, Mario Moody, and company doing a great job. As is the tight end, Nick Pruitt. 1st and goal from the 6. Watson back in, stacked up, maybe a yard. Good to see him back in the game, but not much running. A late flag comes into the fray. Let's see what happens here. If this is against St. Pete, this could be disastrous.
Well, it looked like Mario Moody, number 71, was on the bottom of that pile, and he was fighting to get out. And it is indeed a personal foul. Oh, no, it's going against the Pinellas Park team.
Personal foul against the Patriots, either a late hit or a face mask or something. Did not give the face mask indication. So it'll be half the distance to the goal line. It'll be 2nd down and goal from about the 2.5 after the mark off. Actually, they'll mark it to the 3 with a half the distance penalty. Take a look at it. See, we have it here on the replay from the end zone.
Well, there you see Mario Moody kind of in the middle of that pile there, and it's hard to tell, but then you see number 17, that's Deontay Sherman, and Mario Moody was just sticking up for one of his teammates who was caught under that pile.
2nd and goal from the 2. Move it to the 2. This is Steve or DJ Jones hitting the backfield and dumped abruptly.
Well, it certainly is gut check time for the Patriots right now. Time is ticking down. There's 8.5 minutes to go. The St. Pete defense has been impressive throughout. You don't know how many shots you're going to get at an end zone. And there's David DeCour coming up and making the stop along with Deontay Sherman.
Sherman on the bottom, DeCour up top. Back to the 5. 3rd and goal from the 5. Big defensive play that time. Back to the wishbone. 2 tights. Got to give it to one of the big backs here. Ball on the ground. The Patriots may have come up with it. Let's see. Tom Powers trying to unstack the pile. There's the football, and that is a Green Devil that has it. That's Loesch, one of the offensive linemen that has the football. That would be a big recovery. I thought a Patriot fell on it, but the ball must have squirted out of there, Rich. Let's see the replay.
Well, it was a botched exchange. Charlie Ballou didn't even get a chance to hand it off to one of his fullbacks, and the ball was definitely recoverable for the Patriots, but Casey Loesch somehow caught it, got it out of the corner of his eye and pounced on it before the Patriots could react.
The ball was down at their feet, and they kicked it, didn't even know it was there, and Loesch fell on it. 4th down and goal from about the 4. They're going to kick a field goal to try to tie it. John Domeyer on to attempt. This is going to be a 21-yard field goal. It's virtually an extra point. Ballou is the holder. They're going to fake it. Ballou firing to the end zone. It's going to be knocked down. I can't believe that, Rich. I don't know why you don't play for a tie there. It looked like it was definitely a fake. I don't think it was a botched play. The Patriots were all over it. And once again, they turned back the Green Devils, who had it at the 5. Dusty Boylston, I don't think he called that by his reaction. You can see right there, he's the most surprised guy besides me in the stadium.
Well, it certainly didn't look like it was a botched snap. Charlie Ballou took that snap and had every intention of going for the end zone on that. I don't know if he took matters into his own hands as far as play calling is concerned. But Dusty Boylston, certainly with a shocked look on his face, cannot believe this turn of events. You don't get many opportunities down in the red zone, especially in a defensive struggle like this. You have to make the most of it. On one hand, if Dusty did call that, you have to credit him with being a bit of a riverboat gambler on that play, but
doesn't look by his reaction that he did. But anyway, that's twice now they've had it at the 5 and could not come away with any kind of a score. First one was intercepted. That time they try to fake it after a penalty, after some lost yardage, make that. This is Bassant. Bassant breaks it out across the 10. Spot him at the 13. Breathing room for the Patriots. Nice gain of 8 yards on 1st down.
Breathing room, exactly, Brian. That was probably the biggest play of this drive, regardless of how it ends up. They needed to get out of the shadow of their own end zone, and that's what Andrew Bassant provided. Broke the first tackle that was in the backfield and picked up a nice gain to get them the room they need to operate.
Actually, it's a gain of 9. It's 2nd down and a short 1. Bassant now will be in the slot. Trip receivers to the short side. The lone back is Kopke behind Vaughn on 2nd and 1. Kopke straight up the middle, spinning forward. Probably has enough yards. Didn't get much. Has enough for the 1st down. It will be close, and they're going to say, yes, it will be enough to move the chains. So we've seen that a couple of times. They try to spread them out with a trip formation and receiver to the other side, 4 receivers, but Green Devil's not buying it anymore.
Yeah, St. Pete stayed at home on their defensive line, and they read the play perfectly, but Kopke picked up the tough yard that he needed to get another 1st down, move the chains for the Patriots.
And that's all right now James Adams cares about. Move the chains, keep the ball, run the clock out. He'll take a 3-0 lead. He needs no more points if they keep the Green Devils off the scoreboard. They're going to be forced to call a timeout. However, right here, you see Kopke with a hard-earned 10 carries for 49 yards, averaging just under 5 yards a carry.
Usually 4.9 yards a carry is pretty impressive, but then when you look at what Mark Kopke's done most of the year, he averages over 7 yards a tote coming into this game. So you know he's running up against some stiff competition in the Green Devils D.
He is. That's a great defense. I want to remind you that broadcast rights to this game in the 1997 FHSAA Football Championships have been granted to Time Warner Communications by the Florida High School Activities Association and is intended solely for the enjoyment of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of this production without the express written consent of the FHSAA is strictly prohibited. The Pinellas Park sideline excited that they're under 6 minutes, 5:47 exactly remaining, and they're holding on to a 3-0 lead. Dusty Boylston wants to see his defense get this football back, give the offense one more chance, or as Rich, as you said, they have scored or made big plays defensively this year to keep them in games and to win games. 1st and 10 for the Patriots from their own 16. Nothing there that time. They're going to lose yardage. A delay, and nothing delayed about the defensive pressure from the Green Devils. They just smother Kopke in the backfield for a loss.
Here's Vaughn handing to Kopke, the conservative play call, but Yamano Dunbar, Casey Lotion Company made the penetration, and Juan Murillo ends up picking up the tackle.
2nd down and 11. Alan Gamble, Gary Ponder, the receivers to the short side. David Green, the receiver to the wide side. Kopke, the lone back behind Vaughn. Vaughn with a quick drop. Throw it, intercepted! Intercepted by Amos Phillips. Phillips inside the 10. Tripped up at about the 7, and he threw it right to him, Rich. Good play by Phillips. And that's the play we talked about minutes ago that the Green Devils needed.
Joe Vaughn looking for David Green on the quick slant in. Green covered like a blanket, and Amos Phillips staying at home from the linebacker position. He was perched on the outside, and a great play by Amos Phillips, and almost had a chance to get it into the end zone, but Mark Kopke was able to take him down. And once again, the St. Pete defense giving the offense a chance to take the lead in this game.
1st and goal from the 7. Wishbone formation. Wide receiver to the wide side. Myrick, the first man through. Inside the 5. Spotted at about the 4. 2nd and goal from there. Hemingway apparently now in at quarterback. Now he's going to be replaced. No, he's not. Hemingway is in at quarterback. Ronald Hemingway. We talked about the fact that there was a battle in the preseason, Rich. There was an injury to Hemingway. He moved to the wide receiver position. Now he's in at quarterback. 2nd and goal from the 4. Hemingway's going to keep it. Gets down inside the 2. Spotted right at about the 2. It'll be 3rd and goal from there.
Brian, I would not be shocked in the least if neither of these teams threw a pass the rest of this game. 4 minutes left in the contest. Both teams with chances to ice the game out, and both teams nipped in the bud throwing interceptions. St. Pete had the ball deep in Pinellas Park territory and threw an interception in the first half. Now Pinellas Park a chance to maybe run out the clock throwing an interception, giving St. Pete the ball deep in their own territory.
3rd and goal from the 2. And they did not get there. That looked like 21 DJ Jones on the carry. David DeCore was one of the men in there. Davis made the stop. It's going to be 4th and goal, and you've run 2 plays. You ran a quarterback sneak from the 4, and you run one of your smaller backs from the 2. The big guys haven't touched the football.
And that was all Eric Davis plugging the hole.
Decision time and a timeout called by Dusty Boylston. It's going to be 4th and goal from the 1. He apparently is going to go for the go-ahead and possibly game-winning touchdown with the score Pinellas Park 3 and St. Petersburg nothing.
Well, I couldn't agree more with Dusty Boylston if that's what he tries to do. The only thing I'm wondering is, are they going to go with their big horses right now and give the ball to a Dontrell Butler or a Rodney Myrick? The only thing you could think that they might be thinking on St. Pete's sidelines is James Adams and Pinellas Park's coaching staff must know that that's what we're planning on doing, so they could game plan against that. But either way, I mean, you got to give yourself your best opportunity to score a touchdown. And right now, Watson, Myrick, or Golfin would give you that best chance.
Let's see what happens. Receiver to the wide side is Dontrell Butler. Full house wishbone formation. Tight end to the left side. Hemingway in at quarterback. Going to give the ball and a toss to Watson. Watson diving. No indication. He does not get there. Pinellas Park has turned him back inside the 1. So they try to get the 230-pounder outside on the option play, and the Patriots once again were up to the challenge defensively.
Well, they decide not to go on the inside, the fake dive, and they give it to Butler, who has had success earlier in the game going to the outside, but they step up and make the play when they need to. Mike McGee, who has been hurt by injuries and illnesses all season long, coming up, one of the main men in to make the stop, number 48 for the Patriots. And once again, this Pinellas Park team has answered the call every time they've had to.
Turning them back again. You just saw in the replay from the end zone, Watson was not even close. He did not get inside the 1. On the 1 yard line, 1.5 maybe, the Patriots. Basant the lone back behind Vaughn. He got the carry last time they were down in this territory. Vaughn with a long count, maybe trying to draw St. Pete offside to get the cheap 5 yards. Now he's going to just sneak it, but I think he ran out of time, Rich. That'll be a half the distance penalty. They try to draw him offsides. Good patience and poise shown by the Green Devil defensive front.
And with 3:10 left, I'm not too sure about that play either. You've got to try and give yourself a little bit more room like they did on the previous drive before they threw the interception. You don't want to waste another timeout, and now you're just pushing yourself farther up against the wall.
Timeout called by Pinellas Park. You almost have to sneak it here with Vaughn at 6'2", about 160 behind the big center, David DeCore. Goes in at 245 because a handoff and any negative yards here is a safety. And then they get the ball back trailing by 1 in good field position due to the Green Devils. So we'll see. It's become an interesting game, even though it is very, very low scoring. Still been an interesting defensive battle back and forth. 3:10 remaining, 3-0 Pinellas Park. The regular season matchup, and Rich, we talked about it earlier, wasn't close. Pinellas Park led 7-0. It was all St. Pete after that.
Yeah, but look at the difference. The big difference in this game, if you look at 220 yards rushing for the St. Pete Green Devils in that first game, they have come nowhere near that statistic in this contest. It has been, in every way, shape, and form, a defensive struggle in this game. And like I said, the team that scores the first touchdown will win this game. I don't know if any team's going to score a touchdown in this game.
Well, right now it does not appear that way, but there's still 3:10 remaining, and certainly stranger things have happened. Dusty Boylston from the far sideline looking for a turnover, a safety, anything right here. Vaughn will just sneak it, using David DeCore, and gets good yardage out to just across the 3, almost the 4. Gives him a little bit of breathing room. See the clock running in the right-hand corner. That's the important thing right now for the Patriots. Hold the football and try to run this clock out.
And now time management is going to be very important for both sides. Obviously, Jim Adams and his crew are content to run the clock down as much as they can on every play that they have. But Dusty Boylston's got to think about calling his timeouts and when the best time to call those timeouts would be.
2nd and 8. Manguel and Basant. Basant in now at the tailback position. And there's a dead ball infraction. This may be another delay of game, Rich. That's what it is. It's a delay of game. The Patriots now really shooting themselves in the foot. They run some time off the clock, but they don't want to be going backwards with their goal line right there.
Well, it's almost like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I don't know if those extra seconds are that precious that you need to run the clock all the way down so much that you get a penalty.
No, because the clock is dead now until they snap the ball. So it doesn't help you at all, really, and you lose some yardage. Basant remains in at the tailback position behind Danny Manguel. Basant gets the carry. He's hit right at the line of scrimmage. And that's it. It's going to be 3rd and virtually 10. Timeout is going to be called right now by St. Pete. Clock management you talked about, Rich. This is a good time to take your first timeout on 3rd and 10.
Absolutely. 3rd and long. It's a gimme situation where you're going to call a timeout. This has really become a war of attrition, Brian, on the offensive and defensive line. In the trenches, it has certainly been a standoff. Either side, neither side giving any room to move. And now you see big Moses Williams checking into the game to provide a little bit of support for what will certainly once again be a running play for the Pinellas Park Patriots. And again, St. Pete's offense might get one more chance.
So Moses Williams, Richie's a good story. He's one of the kids that never played football till this year. One of the kids at James Adams talked into coming out, 6'3", 340. He's been a pleasant surprise. He's helped the team. He's been a guy that's kept the team loose. He's always smiling, loves playing, and kind of kid that probably wouldn't have come out a few years ago as poorly as they were doing. 3rd and 10. See whether he decides, some thought up here maybe to take a safety. I don't think he'll do that, but we'll see. Backs in the I formation. Long count, gives it to Bassan. Bassan breaking it to the outside, has a first down inside the secondary, fumbles the ball to the Green Devils. Have it, or was it out of bounds? And they're going to say Pinellas Park has it. What a backbreaker that was. Pinellas Park has the football. Bassan on 3rd and 10 from his own 1. Breaks it to the outside, gets out across the 25. And they're going to spot it right at the 30. That's a gain of 29 yards on 3rd and 10. This is a fullback.
Andrew Bassan has been a valuable player in this game, catching balls out of the backfield, busting off big runs, and nevertheless making it exciting right up until the last minute. The ball just squirting out of bounds, and Gary Ponder chasing it downfield. Luckily, he was Johnny on the spot for the Patriots to pounce on the football.
Because it did look like it stayed in bounds. Richard couldn't see from here. It was on the far sideline, but Ponder falling on it. Nobody over here covering Davis, and he almost drops the ball. Davis will have another first down after the 45. Finally running him down was Amos Phillips. If he catches that cleanly, he might still be running, Rich. I don't know if that was a sleeper play. He came off the sideline, but nobody was out here covering him.
Well, this game has had just about every twist and turn you could imagine. A wide open Eric Davis, and he almost drops the ball. What an exhausting game physically as well as emotionally we have seen here at Richard Allen Field.
I'm exhausted up here calling this thing. I feel like I'm playing back and forth. So many momentum swings. So much emotion swung back and forth between both teams. Under 2 minutes remaining, 153. It's another first down out near the 45. Pinellas Park faithful over here excited. Rich, they can smell a victory. St. Pete had to call, I believe, their second time out here of the second half. And the Green Devils, they had their opportunities. It's not over yet, but it does not look good. They just could not punch it in. Twice they got down to about the 5. The last time they were all the way down near the 1. And could not get it across the goal line. Credit that aggressive Pinellas Park defense as Joe Vaughn's had a solid game.
Over 100 yards passing. He really hasn't been called on to win this game for Pinellas Park. He's done a good job of commandeering this offense and keeping a cool head under pressure for most of this game.
He did throw the interception in the double coverage that almost cost him the victory, but the defense bailed him out. He's going to just sneak it and try to run this baby out. Fighting for extra yards. Not sure why, but picks up a couple. Clock will run. Patriots cheerleaders loving it. And right here in front of us on the track. Joe Vaughn looking to the sideline for direction. Clock continues to run. 2nd down and 7. The ball at the Pinellas Park 48. Now they look like it's going to take a knee, and they will. Second down, 3rd down and 7. Going to let the clock run. They'll have to snap it one more time. Rich Hollenberg is heading down to the sideline to get our post-game interview set up. Will apparently be with that near victorious sideline, the Pinellas Park Patriots. Barring a fumble and a disaster here, they're going to win this one by the score of 3-0. They're going to just let the clock run down. They'll take the delay of game penalty. 32.4 seconds remaining. This will make it 3rd and 13 after the 5-yard mark off.
13.
Here they come, Eddie. Here they come.
They'll snap it one more time. Vaughn takes the knee. And that's going to do it. They're not going to have to snap this ball anymore. The clock will wind down at Pinellas Park. He's going to win it by the score of 3-0. Here comes the water bucket. James Adams is going to chicken out instead. They're going to get a piece of Bob Stevens, the offensive coordinator, the ex-Countryside coach. Finally chased James Adams down a little bit. And this ball game is over. The Patriots will advance. They'll take on the winner of the Northeast Clearwater game as they win a hard-fought 3-0 victory over a disappointed St. Petersburg Green Devils squad. The Green Devils gave a valiant effort. They returned back twice inside the 5. And that was the story of this football game. The 27-yard field goal in the first quarter by Adam Bradley, the only scoring in this contest. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back with our post-game show. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7.
Back at Pinellas Park High School in the aftermath of what can only be termed a defensive struggle, the Pinellas Park Patriots move on, and I'm with winning head coach James Adams. And coach, defensive struggle is understating it, I think.
I think absolutely. I think the entire game was really one of defense, and it was really with the team that's going to make the mistake. Towards the end, is going to lose the ball game. But I think it was definitely a defensive struggle.
I think your team really showed a lot of heart. Also, a couple opportunities to give up a touchdown and have to go back and march 90 yards down the field to win the game in the fourth quarter, but instead your defense came up huge every time you needed them to.
Absolutely. We had some things happen on offense. We had an interception that was, I thought was going to be a real key interception, and instead of the kids just laying down, go ahead and let them score, they held them, and I think right there the kids knew that we can get these guys. I thought another one was a key interception. Dave Green intercepted the ball in the end zone, and I just think with on a Friday night, you never know what's going to happen. Never know which way the ball's going to roll, and it rolled our way tonight.
You guys make the playoffs for the first time in over a dozen years, and it marks the beginning of the turnaround from 0-10 4 years ago. But yet you've been game planning for not just a win here, but down the road also. You guys don't feel like you're done yet.
Absolutely not. And I told our kids tonight, I said, we can beat these guys. You got to believe. And all week long, we worked really hard, and we knew we could win. Last week we played against a real tough and physical Northeast team, and we had 6-7 of our kids that were out. And tonight, we had most of our kids here, and I think on a good night, we have all our kids healthy. We can play some football.
Okay, James Adams will have one more home game, maybe even a couple more. We're hoping we do. Good luck down the road. Let's bring on a couple of the stars of the game on the field. Mark Kopke, the defense obviously won the game. You kind of set the tone, at least for that opening drive where you got the only points of the game running the ball. Was this game as tough as you expected it to be?
Well, I knew it was going to be pretty tough because St. Pete beat us last time, and we ran a defense we never ran before. So we went back to our normal defense, and we knew we could beat them because we beat them in the last year, and we practiced real hard at it all week, and we came out victorious.
Coach was saying that you guys were pretty healthy tonight as compared to the last time you played. When you guys are healthy and on the field playing as well as you can, do you feel you can play with anyone in the state?
Yeah, we feel we could play with anybody. We're going to prove it next week against Lakeland if they won. We had a couple key linemen out last week that we couldn't do the job against Northeast, blocking them tough linemen. But we'll do good, and we'll go pretty far in the state playoffs.
All right, Mark Kopke, congratulations on the win. Let's bring on one of your teammates, another guy who is in on almost every tackle, it seemed, Eric Davis. You've been here also when the down times. Now that it's the up times, you guys are in the playoff. You got to win against the tough St. Pete team. Tell me what's going through your head right now.
Well, I can't explain because I feel so happy because I prayed to the Lord and I prayed again, then I prayed some more, and He just blessed us because it's a lot of times they could have scored when they was down on the goal line, but we just came through, and I was just happy. Just can't explain where I feel. It's the happiest moment of my life.
I've been watching you coming off the sidelines. You're about as emotional as I've seen a high school player in the playoffs coming out with a win. Do you feel like this emotion is going to carry on the next week and hopefully in weeks to come, and you guys could make something real special happen here?
Yeah, when we come out and play with emotion, we could like play with anybody. You know, we not real. We have like a young line, and we not all that good like a bunch of other teams. But we come out and try to play hard every week and practice hard and practice.
It's the most important thing. Eric Davis, congratulations on an outstanding game.
Okay.
Good luck down the playoffs. I'll be back with Brian Unks to wrap things up. Pinellas Park, a 3-0 winner over St. Petersburg here in the first round of the Class 5A state playoffs. We'll be back right after this.
Back at Pinellas Park High School, where Pinellas Park holds on for a 3-0 victory over St. Pete. Brian Unks back along with Rich Hollenberg. Rich, the first thing we have to straighten out is Pinellas Park will not play at Northeast. We understand it'll be against Lakeland probably if they won tonight.
And Lakeland's a tough team, but this team is playing with a lot of emotion, a lot of heart, as you heard in those interviews just before, and they feel like they can play with anyone in the state right now.
Played very well this evening. Let's take a look now at the highlights in the second half. It will start out second and goal from the 6. Charlie Ballou back to pass. I thought they were going to try to run it in, Rich, and he's intercepted in the end zone by David Green, who makes a nice return.
Yeah, one of only a handful of pass attempts in the entire game. You got to wonder why they went to the air in that situation. David Green coming over from the safety position to help out, gets a key interception to stop St. Pete.
We're now in the fourth quarter. It's 4th and goal. They're going to kick a game-time field goal. Right? No. Charlie Ballou gets up immediately, tries to fake it and throw it in the end zone towards Butler. He's double covered, and the ball's knocked away, and they turn him back again.
Well, that play had disaster written all over, and we weren't even sure if Dusty Boylston had called for that play.
Joe Vaughn, he's going to run the clock out, right? No, he drops back to pass, and that ball's intercepted this time by Amos Phillips.
Amos Phillips does a great job of staying at home, ran it down inside the 5-yard line, and again, St. Pete knocking at the door.
They have it. It's 4th down and goal. Watson hasn't touched the ball yet. They're going to run the option play, pitch it to the 230-pounder outside. He does not get in.
No, a great play by Mike McGee and company. Mark Kopke making a stop as he did all night. Key stop for Kopke and the entire Pinellas Park defense.
One of the few games where you see more turnovers than points on the scoreboard.
Absolutely. 3-2 in favor of Pinellas Park on the turnovers, but the most important thing, obviously, is the 3-0 in favor of Pinellas Park on the scoreboard. As we've said all night long, it was a defensive struggle, and you can only say the best team won out. Pinellas Park played with a lot of heart. St. Pete's got nothing to hang their heads about. A tremendous defensive effort by them as well, holding Pinellas Park, which has a pretty good offense, to just 3 points, but 3 points was all that was needed in the outcome.
And keep your head up, St. Pete. You guys had a great season. Pinellas Park will advance. Congratulations to them. We're going to wrap things up right now. Final score once again, Pinellas Park 3, St. Petersburg 0. For my broadcast partner, Rich Hollenberg, director Ed Bodker, producer Brian Siracusa, and everybody else here at Time Warner Communications, I'm Brian Unks. Thank you very much for joining us. And until next time, take care, everyone.